Hello there, this is Bick Benedict. We're playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on the PC on the hardest difficulty, which, in this game's case, is entitled Survivor Difficulty. Just like it was titled in The Last of Us, now that I think about it. But we're going to use this pipe to destroy this part of the wall. And then we're going to get I think it's called the recurve bow, which will enable us to tear down posts, things like that. So we're going to be skipping all of these cutscenes. Yes, the recurve bow. So the next part, hold on. The next part, it's a Saturday night, as you can probably guess. If you can't, you may not have been on the channel too long, but each and every Saturday night there is a program titled What Makes Me Tick? No, I'm just kidding. It's entitled At the Opera with Sean Bianco, who I call Sean Shitter, because he never stops talking about stuff, although you can't help but love the guy. He's been doing the program since, I think, the early 2000s. But this is one of my favorite stealth sections in the entire game. How this works is you definitely want to come up here and take out the guys in the towers, the guy welding on top of the building, and the other guy in the distance, whom I'll show you who he is in a moment. So, do you see the guy to the left right there? Fixing that generator or air conditioner or whatever it is, or the heater. If you take him out before the guy that we just took out, then the guy over there who was just over there to the right will see the fallen body. So you want to do it in this order. This is the best way to do it. I'm having quite a difficult time adjusting to the aiming rotation of the x-axis being inverted, but then when I go back to switch to the aiming rotation to be normal when I'm aiming and when I'm looking around the world, then I get the same kind of predicament. So there really is no win for me anymore. I have to just pick one, and I choose to go with x-axis invert on. But I wanted to thank everybody once again who was contributing to the comments of the pilot episode that I aired, in which I've been talking about. I just received a message from good old Haddo telling me he had a list, if need be, of games. And I'll get into that in a second, but do you see these guys here? You want to cause a distraction on one of these guys so that they separate from one another, and then you want to systematically take them down one by one. There is a guy in the building, but fortunately for us, he's got his blinders on, and he doesn't see anything, even though you cross his direct line of sight. So come on over to here. Do you see the way this guy is smoking here? I really applaud that in games, because I think there's a lot of media sources in this day and age that are hesitant to have tobacco usage in their programming or in their games and things like that. To be honest about it, who really cares? People, I'm not a smoker. I used to be a smoker, but when I see people being so sensitive to tobacco usage, it really bothers me and pisses me off. Obviously we don't want people smoking in our faces and things like that. But most people, they don't. They go to where it's, the delegated smoking areas. But I just find that it pisses me off when you have to have that little advisement on your warning label. Ooh, tobacco use. So I think it's really refreshing when, particularly in video games, when enemies are smoking, because it gives them a legitimate pastime and like a reason for doing something, like wiping sweat off their brows, or kicking the dirt, or taking a swig of a 40 or something like that, or just smoking. Just let people do what they want to do. So anyway, we're going to get the assault rifle pretty soon. It's probably the most underwhelming gun in the game. It is the most powerful of the submachine guns, though. Even more powerful than the SMG. So we're gonna bust on through here, and you've got to pepper enemies very lightly, shoot enemies with the gun in question because the aiming reticle goes wild fast. So we're gonna pick it up off this guy. I'm kind of curious to go back to the first Tomb Raider from 2013 to see all the differences, because I know stealth wasn't as much of a thing in the first game. I mean, they've really increased how much stealth has a presence in this game. And that's wonderful because the shooting is just so mediocre. So we're going to get the gun off of this guy. Anytime you see me go wild with my aiming, like right there. Was I wild right there? Not sure. It's just because I'm trying to acclimate myself to the X-axis invert. It's a brand new option that they just patched into the game a couple days ago. So I'm trying to get used to it. And if you're wondering, you know, why invert the X-axis in the first place? I never used to be like that at all until, and I've said this many times, until Ninja Gaiden Black came out. It's a game made by Itagaki-san, Tomonobu Itagaki, and he put it in his game, and it was the only way to use the camera in that game to have the X-axis inverted. So I got used to it, and I started to really get used to it and to love it. So much so that I couldn't have it any other way. But that's the origins of, if you're wondering, you know, why is this dude harping over the X-axis being inverted? It's because of Ninja Gaiden Black, which I have a guide for on my channel. A damn fun game. You know, like when I play a game, I just want to have fun. That's the bottom line. I don't want any problems with it, like having to, you know, sign up for Uplay or do all this other bullshit like Ubisoft does. But here they're introducing us to crafting on the fly. So if you have the resources to do it, you can actually craft fire grenades, these nail bombs right here, smoke grenades, things like of that sort. I don't know, how do you guys feel about the passive cover system in this game? Do you know what I mean? But when you go up to cover, it just puts you in cover. There's no pressing a button like in Uncharted. I think it really does the game well for what this is. But can you imagine like if that was in Uncharted? I really know which one I prefer. I prefer Uncharted. But at least they've preserved this tactic here of hiding behind cover, staying safe, and aiming directly out of cover. You know, that nice third-person camera trick. And one of my buddies, actually, Hazardous Echo, was talking to me, and he was telling me, you know, he was saying the day that they let the enemies do that to you is the day he gives up gaming. And all I'll say to that, I guess, is I would agree. Anyway, we've got a really challenging fight here, you guys. It's a challenging fight just because there's a heavy coming up. And what you want to do is you want to use the rope pull to make sure that you take down this particular hut right here. See that? Use the rope pull for that. Normally you'll get a couple of guys rushing you, so you want to always go for headshots here. But I'm having like I've been saying, quite the difficult time adjusting to this X-axis being inverted. And I will say this, like this game, it's so basic and not difficult that even if you're adjusting to a different rotation of the axis, you're probably not even going to struggle anyway. It's that kind of, I mean, you can aim for days in this game. You know, you try to get away with that in Uncharted, you're just not going to. So always remember too that you can zoom in by clicking in the R3 button. What the hell is it called on the Xbox 360 controller? Just right stick? RS? And also, if you're ever in doubt when you're in combat, there usually is some kind of an environmental object that you can interact with and kill enemies, whether it be an exploding barrel, a dangling lamp, a spouting valve, anything like that. But this is a pretty long wave at first. The next wave is not as long, and you get a checkpoint, but there's going to be a heavy coming out for you. So what I would recommend is to have a couple of poison arrows for him, and that's going to kill him instantly. They also give you the ability to craft some grenades, I think, at the checkpoint area. And it's funny because you don't even have to put yourself at risk. Wow, can I talk? When you're aiming the grenades. Not that there are grenades in this game, but you know, when you're throwing things. Like when you're lining up the shot and it has that arc. You don't even have any threat of getting hit. It's with complete safety that you aim. Like this I'm talking about right over here. Here's the heavy, larger than life. Ready to give us a world of hurt if he wants to. Like this here, when you aim, you're completely safe. So anyway, so there's gonna be, like when you kill like two or three of these guys here, there's gonna be some guys coming in through the gate. So you can actually get them all like right as they come through the gate if you launch a poison arrow in their general direction. But what they usually do is they try to flank you. So what I do is I usually shoot a poison arrow over to the left inside that shack, and then just take care of anybody who's left. I really do appreciate it in this game that the last enemy will often say, "It's just you and me now," giving you like such a great indication. Oh, you might wonder why I healed right there. I said I wasn't using healing items. The only time I use healing items is after fights. I'm not using them during the fight. So I just think that there's no issue doing it that way. So we got some experience there. Now we're going to run over yonder, meet up with Jacob. The story is appalling. I admit it, I have not watched the story for this game. I've watched some of it, but at the end of the day, I just said, to hell with this. This is just horrible. It's boring. I'd rather slit my wrists than watch this story. Like, I don't even know like what happens at the end of the game because I kept skipping the cutscenes. That's what I did for the original Tomb Raider. You know, the 2013 one. Okay, so now we're fugitives, as it tells us. We're going to be doing some running here. You're never really in much danger on these. If this were Uncharted, you'd be in a whole hell of a lot of danger. But we're almost on the last stretch of this particular section. I've gone through this game so many times now, you guys, so if you have any doubt or anything like that, because I did delete the project at first, whether I have the ability to take you through the game, it's something that I've gone through several times now. So just hold the B button to go faster here. You could also click in the left stick to go faster as well. See, all these bullets, but nothing hits you. You know, you'd be dead in less than a second in Uncharted 2 and 3. Anyway, so head on down here now. There's going to be a bit more running. And that has been installment 5, you guys. What was that, a 15-minute installment? Got quite a lot of done. Now we're going to just move on over to here. And I'm going to see you guys in installment the 6th. As I said, this is the 5th one. So I'm going to see you over there. And make sure to take care of yourselves.